Hello, hello. All right, so I'm a little bit late. Okay, I'm a lot late. I apologize. But tonight was crazy. We had a storm and all those hurricanes that came in, and then we had where it messed up something in the electric, had to have the electric guy come out. You guys don't want to hear the whole story. So, with that said, we are going to start off with talking about progress and data. All right, we're summing this series up with talking about law and IDEA, okay, which is federal law. Each state requires their states to have laws in special education, but IDEA is obviously typically going to trump state law, but state law is state law, IDEA is IDEA, and state law is not too far off of IDEA. Okay, so it's just more intricacies and little things here and there. Okay, so I know it's late, guys. I'm really sorry. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Raven Woods, and I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. So if you have never caught me live again, or you're catching the replay because it's so late, and I apologize for that again, please post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. So post a 1 below, okay? I want to get to know you. Everybody wants to get to know you. We like getting to know each other, okay? Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie, okay? So a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie, a 1 below if you are new and it's your first through third time catching me live, okay? So if you'd like, you can share. I really want you to share. There's lots of good information here. So when you share, you go into the hat, okay? Remember I was wearing this yesterday, all right? So you go into the hat at the end of the month and you win gifts and prizes, okay? If you haven't clicked notifications, make sure you do that. Grab your spot over in the group, search Autism Mama Rocks IEP group, and it's just an amazing community over there. So it's either your thing or it's not your thing, but it's a great group. So if you're looking for a good group, no judgment, a mediator who definitely will kick you out if you're nasty to other people. And I love that because it keeps things clean, all right? I've had very few mean people, but it's not something I tolerate. And I'm very active in the group. So you don't have to worry about that. I know a lot of people are like, thank goodness the mediator's, active and does something about it. So yes, I do. So hi, Cynthia. Hi, Kim. So we're summing this up today, okay, in reference to progress and data, which we've been talking about in this whole series. It's not really going to be as repetitive today because I'm speaking in reference to law, how your IEPs should look, and what needs to be part of it in regards to when you're supposed to get progress reports, what they're supposed to look like, data, actually what those are not supposed to look like, and moving forward with having a very standardized IEP, which is what they're supposed to be. All right. Standardized IEPs are how they should be written. I recently finished a conversation about an hour ago with a client, and there's a first time for everything. And I told her, I can't do anything with this. And the reason for that, guys, is because her son's IEP had no present levels. None. He had 1 goal for reading and 2 goals for math. And it was horrible. So the fact that the child's four years behind, it goes to show that without goals and without present levels, which is what we've been speaking about in this series too, can really, really hurt your child. And that's why I talk about it as much as I do, because it will significantly harm them. Not physically, but in every other way. So I take it very seriously. I hope you do too. I know progress and data is one of the hardest things to actually learn. Goals I can teach very smoothly. And when I teach people going through their IEPs, how to write a goal, and how I think when I'm writing a goal from the present levels, or even just coming up with a goal from another goal, I can teach that. But progress and data is one that it comes at you in different ways because each school system does things differently, and you have to know how to understand them and how to read them. So data could be not just in reference to a progress report. It could be data in reference to an assessment. And a lot of times when you guys get assessments, let's just take your psychological assessment, okay? So when a psychological assessment's done, you get all these numbers, okay? Usually anywhere from 0, which I've never seen, all the way up to, I think 120 is kind of where the cap of the above average. And so when you see those numbers, and then to the right-hand side, typically you'll see low, below average, average, above average, right? So when you see that, you think, just probably like I did, oh, okay, my son's low, or my daughter's low, or my daughter's above average, or my daughter's average, right? Well, I don't know. The reason why I don't know is because I don't know how that test or assessment was conducted, and I don't know if those scores are based off of GE, which is grade equivalent. Grade equivalent isn't your child's individual level difference. Grade equivalent is more in reference to the general population, the school of children in that grade. Where does your child fall within that grade of all the kids? So is that score based off that? Or is that score based off your child's individual level? The next question I ask myself is, what is the mean in which they came up with their score? And what was the standard deviation? So when you're figuring data out, it's not just above average, low, below average, etc. So there's a lot more that goes into it. So let's just get started. So if you're jumping on here, hi Linda, hi Michelle. Post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live, or even if you're catching the replay, okay? And if you are oldie but goodie, post a 2 below, okay? So IDEA requires school districts to monitor progress on goals. That is a must, okay? And in the individual education plan, your child with special needs will have goals, should have goals, right? Progress monitoring is scientifically based and should be based on practices specifically measuring progress regarding specific areas of need in your child's IEP, individualized for them, uniquely for them, all right? So unfortunately, a lot of school districts don't do this or do this appropriately and accurately. All right. So without appropriate progress monitoring, there's no way to know if your child is making progress at all. Okay. So they also, if they don't know if the child's making progress, or you don't know if your child's making progress, how are you then going to revise the goal that's not working, or there's no progress being made, and figuring out what's going on? Another story that we will get into in regards to what I just said is a lot of school districts will not come to you and say, and give you a phone call and say, hey, Miss Schultz, I just wanted to call and let you know that your child's goals are just not working. And we need to get together as soon as possible so that we can go over your child's goals and figure out what's not working so that we can create a plan of action to put into the IEP that works for him. more than likely you will never receive that phone call, guys. And that's unfortunate. It's first essential to have measurable IEP goals with baselines, okay, upon which progress is monitored. If you don't have a baseline, you can't go anywhere, all right? You have to have a starting point, all right? And that means that IEP goals need to include, okay, what, how, and where, all right? So what that means is what is actually being measured. All right, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. That could be reading comprehension, attention to task. Then you need to look at how is it being measured. So that could be performance on assessments, standardized tests, reading comprehension, that sort of thing. All right, and then where. So where is your child and where are they functioning upon initial implementation of that goal? So what that means is where is their standard score? And if their standard score is, say, I don't know, a 76, okay, on the assessment, how long does it take them to get to that point? All right, so it could be even on a standardized test, there's a comprehension portion. How long does it take them to get through that part? Okay, so that is kind of the where are they in the completion and understanding and implementation of that goal. So how long does it take them to get there, I guess would be a better word for it instead of where. But where is there because it's where are they in rapidly getting through that assessment. Okay, so in standardized tests, they're timed. So how quickly is it that they're moving through that assessment? And then, of course, if they're not on the diploma track, then that's different. Okay, so the method by which progress is monitored is important. All right, we've talked about this across the board. It's super important. All right, and more specifically, I have my notes in front of me. That's why you keep looking that I'm looking down because I want to stay focused on this because it's important. So more specifically, methods for measuring progress must be objective. Remember I talked to you guys about objective data versus subjective data? Same thing here. So progress must be measured objectively. Now listen up. This is what I was telling you guys yesterday, all right? So objective measures on a specific goal. So simply utilizing subjective measures such as teacher observation, therapist observation, or even grades are subjective progress. So what that means is it's not sufficient to measure goals properly, all right? Because subjective data and subjective progress monitoring are based off opinion. Opinion is not progress, does not lead to progress. It is yours and my opinion. So when we bring out subjective data, okay, that we know as parents is the right thing, we know this is what our children can and cannot do or what is best for them, right? Well, we go tell the school system and we say, well, I know because I'm the mom that this is the best thing and I know this is what works for my child, et cetera, right? And let me tell you, I've said this over and over again. We're always right. We are 99.9% of the time, we are right. But that's still subjective data, and that's why a lot of parents will get the no on the opposing side because it's subjective. You have nothing to back it up. So objective data is taking that gut instinct, taking that opinion of yours, not theirs, yours as the parent, and then creating subject or objective data. All right? You can create it. I will teach that later. But you can create objective data. Just like in my 5 laws that I teach in reference to IDEA, the 5 top laws of how I explain to you what it really means and how to dissect it. In that, it's explaining how things work, all right? And the laws that you must know, all right? And in these laws, it talks about objective data, subjective data, and subjective progress and objective progress, okay? And the fact that teacher observation is not sufficient, all right? So specific information must be provided regarding methods to measure progress. And that has to be in your IEP, guys. So, for example, simply stating data collection is insufficient. And that's why I say it needs to be report data collection. All right. So specific means data will be collected and should be provided. And then who is going to collect it? All right. The who has to be there. Who is collecting that data? And how will the data be collected? How is it going to be collected? Report data collection is, the writing part. How often will it be collected? And under what circumstances will it be collected? Those are the things that must be in the IEP. All right. So you need to be provided progress reports. I just dropped my pen. You need to be provided progress reports at least as frequently as children receive report cards. All right. You can actually receive progress reports more than that. Quarterly is the very least, but it should always, legally speaking, be when report cards are given out. Now, children with significant behavior issues or children who are significantly behind, that may require weekly monitoring, and you need to receive a weekly email or a weekly progress report supported by data. Require that. You need to require that. All right. And additionally, it would not be appropriate to wait an entire quarter to get data and progress reports. All right. So that's the quarterly. I know that is what some schools do. But typically report cards, at least I know here where I am, look on your website for your school and see when report cards are given out. If it's not on the website, look at your school's calendar. On the calendar, most of them are like color coded and it'll say when the holidays are, when days off are, etc. Well, look and see when report cards are given out and count the weeks between them, and then you'll know. Ours here is every 9 weeks. So every 9 weeks, a progress report needs to be delivered. So that's 2 months and a week, right? So that's not bad. So that's when you should be receiving progress reports and your data to back it up. All right. And it's important also to make sure parents receive, well, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I say this, I'll just tell you. All right. So you don't want to wait the entire school year to go without data, right? So you need to not just get progress reports. A lot of schools will just say, here's the progress report when the report card is given out. All right. And then no data follows it. You just basically get the goal and then you get the whole write-up, and you may get, how it says that they mastered the goal or they didn't master the goal and that sort of thing. All right. So if a child who is functioning 3 years below grade level or more, due to their specific learning disability, you need to receive progress more, not every 9 weeks or whatever it is in regard to report cards. You need to require progress reports more than that. I personally suggest weekly emails that state what your child's been working on and then the data to support it. So whatever the data is to that goal, there should be, or whatever the data is to that goal, you should be provided that. All right. So that can be written work. If they're writing and doing things like that, that can be report data collection, which is each and every day there's a date. All right. And then literally it's written down of what the child's doing in detail, not just 5 words or a sentence. Okay. So make sure you review your child's IEP goals. We're going to kind of recap here, including a review of how your child's progress is being monitored. How is it being monitored? All right. And how and when will it be provided to you? And if your child is behind, you need to require it more than that. If that means you go back to the table, that means you go back to the table. If that means you go to mediation, you go to mediation. Please, God, please prepare for mediation. But you can go to mediation if you need to in regards to getting data and to be able to measure your child's progress. Okay? And if you don't ever understand how to measure progress, how to, look at data, how to read the data, how to understand it, and how to make sure that your child is making progress, then you need to find out. All right. And if you don't trust the school, then you can go to another parent that may have a special needs child. You can always ask me. You can ask, people in your community. But you want to make sure that you understand. And of course, go to somebody that you know will be able to tell you accurately. All right. So another thing you want to make sure is if your child is not on grade level and they're in the general curriculum, think about what their IEP says. I've seen this a lot lately. And what it is I'm seeing that your child has goals and that you may or may not be getting your progress reports, but and that's a procedural violation, by the way. But if there is goals and you're not provided data, that is violating IDEA. That is violating what a standardized IEP is. That is violating state law in all states. There's not one DOE website that I've been on where data isn't specified. Measurable goals are not specified. Okay? Who should be at your IEP is not specified. It's always specified. Okay? So you want to make sure that your goals are measurable. All right? And you want to know how it's being measured, and you want to know when it's going to be provided to you, and you want to know what the progress is looking like, and you need to make sure that it's clarified to you as to what it all means, just like I was talking about with the assessments. If it doesn't make sense, make sure you find out and make sure you don't give up because you don't understand. So make sure that you understand what it means, because it may not mean what you think it means. So especially with assessments, all right, especially when there's a score. If there is a score and from that score it says low, average, above average, below average, blah, 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 then you need to know what's behind that score. Okay? There's something behind it. That number came from somewhere. You need to know how that assessment was given. You need to know what assessment was given. You can ask for the assessment, and don't you dare let them tell you that it's copyrighted and that you don't have a right to see it. You absolutely have a right to see it. It's right under not IDEA, but actually FERPA. And you have every right to see that examination, that assessment that was given to your child, okay? So if you ask for the results, you can get those, right, from their school, and they'll usually provide you with the psychological and speech and whatever. But if you ask for the specific test that was provided, I can almost guarantee you that your school system will say, oh, we can't give that out because it's copyrighted, so we're not allowed to give that out. Now, if you go onto the FERPA website, it actually states otherwise. So they're in fact wrong, okay? So you're going to then have to fight them to get the assessment. But you need that assessment so that you can then evaluate how the data was brought about. How did they come up with that number? How do you know that it was accurate? Let me tell you a story of what I just found out yesterday. I could have told you yesterday, but let me tell you this story. All right. So I'm working with a client now. We're going to actually be going to due process or filing for due process, but I can pretty much see us settling in mediation. Her child was given, she was given a psychological evaluation from her son, all right, that he had taken and was given a psychological evaluation. Well, the dates of the evaluation, there were 4 dates. 4 of the dates were given that the evaluation was given, okay? So You're not going to believe this. 3 of those dates, the child was not even at school. So only 1 of those dates out of the 4, this child was at school. So how did they give a test, all right, a psychoeducational takes anywhere from 2 to 7 days, all right, because it's a lengthy test. And usually they try to do like 2 hours a day, and it's like 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours that'll take a child, depending on, where they are. And the child was there 1 day. And of the 3 days that it said on the assessment, it said all 4 days and stated the dates. And this child was only at school on 1 of the 4 days. It gets better. You want to hear the rest? So not only was that child only there 1 of the 4 days of this evaluation, the whole evaluation was filled out. How did this child do this whole evaluation in 1 day when he wasn't even there the whole day, that 1 day? It gets better. So then there's a person in the school system, in some schools, they're like an assessment specialist, okay? And they're typically a teacher or a teacher who has gone on and gotten their master's degree, but in a lot of states, you now have to have your master's degree. Like I know when I had to go back and I got my master's in educational leadership, and so I know in Virginia you have to have your master's. So bottom line, they only pretty much had half a day to give this child a psychoeducational. Didn't happen. There's no way. And so this assessment specialist said she did this evaluation. All right, it's on the evaluation. Then the psychologist signed the evaluation. Okay? So this isn't a matter of a physician assistant did what they did and then they had to have it signed off by a doctor. Right? This isn't that type of situation. So let me tell you something. A neuropsychological, a psychoeducational, a psychological, all have to be done by a psychologist or a medical doctor. Okay? It is not allowed to be done by an assessment specialist. Now, an assessment specialist can give other assessments, okay? Any assessment, actually. They can give the Wyatt. They can give, some of the other assessments out there. But they can't give the big ones, all right? Which is the psychoeducational, the psychological, the neuropsychological, and there's some others. All right, they can't give like reading tests like the CTOP2, the GARS. They can't give some of those, okay? But they can give, like standardized tests and, privately because the child's accommodations. They can give, like the Wyatt and some generalized testing. But they cannot give those psychoeducational, psychological, all those. So you have the assessment. It's done for 4 days. Only 1 day the child was there, part of the day. Then the assessment specialist said she did the evaluation, and it's on the evaluation that she did it. The psychologist then signs it. Where did this data come from? It makes no sense. So basically, then here's a topper. The parent kept requesting the evaluation and didn't receive it for 10 and a half months later. So that's what I'm dealing with. And the fact that the school doesn't care. And it's unfortunate. And these are things that are huge. That's basically fraudulently giving a test, an assessment to a child, and then drawing things up that are not true. Because you can't give a psychoeducational to a child with these types of special needs in a day. No psychologist does a psychoeducational in a day. It's spanned out. So you have to be careful of those things. All right. So make sure, as well as staying on top of progress and data, that the right people are doing the right types of things with the kids in school. And now that you're virtual, or some of you are, you want to make sure that the same thing is adhered to, because IDEA is still in place, guys. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's not going anywhere. FAPE is going to be very hard to provide, especially the appropriateness of your child's IEP being implemented in a way that is going to work virtually. All right? Don't sign anything in reference to a COVID type of IEP, an amended type of IEP due to COVID. All right? The only thing changing is where and how. Okay? Accommodations are still going to be there, or should be there. Services still should be there. And everything else should be in place. The IEP needs to be adhered to. The only difference is their home versus school. The only other difference is they're not being taught face-to-face and directly. They're taught virtually. Those are the only two changes. All right? Now, granted, as moms and dads, grandmas, grandpas, they're all on here. I get it. It's going to really stink, and it's more than likely not going to work for many of our kids, which is why the appropriateness part of FAPE is just not going to be feasible. Does that make it the school's fault? No. But does it make it the school's job to figure out how to provide FAPE during this unfortunate time? Yes. Okay? So make sure that you stay on top of things as things start to transpire come next week. I know many of us start school next week, and you want to make sure that the provisions are in place to make things as simple and as easy as possible for not just you, but your child. And, start talking to them now. Start getting them used to things being different now, so that when you move forward and starting this virtual life that you guys are going to have to get very used to, your child has, been kind of put into the position by you in a slow way versus bam, here you go, start learning online, So get them used to it now. Start talking to them about it now. Make sure you stay on top of progress. Put your IEP on the wall and separate it. Take it apart. I know some of y'all have seen your IEPs and they're like 50 something pages. But you want to make sure you see all those goals. You want to make sure that they're being implemented and that your IEP is being adhered to, even virtually. Just because you're home and they're being taught through the computer versus directly and face-to-face, and just because they're not at school doesn't mean they don't deserve an education having been out for 6 months. All right? So they deserve an education. They deserve compensatory education once this is said and done. They deserve to have FAPE be provided to them. And if it's not, you need to make sure that you act accordingly. So just kind of digest all this and understand that I know you're going to do the best you can. I know I'm going to do the best I can. But you want to make sure that progress is key. You are able to really monitor progress because things are being done at home. And, you're going to be more in tune with things because you're going to see it be done virtually, and you're going to be more a part of it because you're there. So this may be actually a good opportunity for you to really get an idea of where they are. And it may be shocking or it may be a great thing. So really embrace this time as a time, instead of in a negative way, which many of us have done. And I get it, it stinks and we're all stressed out. But if you just look at something in a positive, look at it in the positive of now you can really be in the trenches with your child and really see where they actually are right now. And are they making progress? And is this virtual thing working for them? And if it's not, you don't want to be hush hush about it. You want to immediately put out emails. This is not working. FAPE is not being provided. Start recording your child. So, for example, if they're in the middle of a lecture, whatever it is, however it is, they're given work. It could be pre-recorded. When they're given work, all right, and it's time to sit down and do the work, etc., record them to show that maybe they're having a fit and, having a meltdown. Record that they just want to get up from the table and pay no attention to it. That there's not that specific structure in the educational setting that they're used to. So they're used to being home and relaxing, and it's not associated to them, and they don't associate school as in home, and that's going to be difficult for them. So if hiccups start happening, take action now. Don't wait. Don't let them get even more behind, already having missed 6 months of school. And many kids were just ignored over ESY and just not provided it at all when things did open up and it should have been provided. And, you want to make sure that you're on top of all of that. All right. So don't not say anything if your child is not adapting and adjusting to the online way of learning. And if it's not working for them, say it's not working for them. I don't care if you have to email every single day. I would every day. It's not working for Skylar today. Today is, August 8th, 2020. It's not working for her today either. August 9th, 2020. It's not working for Skylar today either. And that creates a paper trail. Your paper trail speaks volumes because you don't want to just say it's not working for her today. You want to say why. So you want to say it's not working for Skylar today. That's my daughter's. So it's not working for Skylar today because she was not wanting to sit down at the table to do subtraction. She wanted to get up and she wanted to play with her iPad, and she was distracted because she's at home and she has specific things she likes to do at home. The school can't come back and blame you. They can't say, well, if the parent, would have sat down with their child and did the work, then the child would have paid attention and sat down and did the work. We're not teachers. We can't be blamed. We're not liable. Don't make me liable for what you're teaching. Now, in reality, us as parents, we're going to make sure that our kids do what they're supposed to do. We're going to make sure and do the best we can. But don't think that you're liable because you're not. Don't let them, that's something I can hear happening, is don't let them come back and say, well, if you did this, then that wouldn't happen. Or if you did this, that wouldn't happen. Don't let that happen to you. Don't let them feed you the guilt. Okay? So the district is that's what they do. And if they can throw it on you, then they're going to do that. Because they're already worried. Very worried. Because there's so many lawsuits out there right now. There's so many things going on. They have begged the secretary to please change something within IDEA to be able to provide school districts with the leniency to not have to provide FAPE in some way, shape, or form. They're begging for this, and it hasn't been given to them. And I believe it won't be given to them. So that is a benefit to our children. That is a benefit to our children with special needs and disabilities. Okay? That means that, Section 504 and claims in regards to discrimination are going to go through the roof. And it's going to be a mess. So I want you to prepare yourself for as much success as possible, and make sure that the success that you prepare for is mentally as well, because you are going to be that support for your child. And none of us wants them to fail. None of us wants them to struggle. This is already a difficult time. I can't even tell you how crazy I am with this COVID thing. You know, I'm wanting to take Skylar to Disney World over, Christmas. And it's probably not going to happen because everything's closed and Florida's a mess right now with COVID. And things are upping, and I'm just so over COVID. I don't know about you, but I'm so over it. And everything that's going on today, and people young and older suffering from this, and I just want it to go away, and nobody suffer, nobody else get sick, and just go away. That's what I want. But in actuality, you and I don't want our kids to fail. You and I don't want them to struggle. So it's going to be up to us to do the very best we can so that that doesn't happen. But that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So I just want you to know that you have to let your voice be heard, and don't be afraid for it to be heard, and don't be put in a position where it's thrown back at you, because that's not fair. And you're not the one that's teaching your child. You're the one supporting your child. You have to look at yourself right now, right? If your child's going to be learning virtually, you need to look at yourself as the one-to-one aid. That's how you are. That's where you fall in this picture. All right? But that's not how they look at you. They look at it like, here you go. Here's the work. It's pre-recorded. Here it is. And have fun, and you got to do it. And that's not how virtual learning should be. It should be where, a lot of the older kids will get pre-recorded work, and then there'll be time for open session where the teacher is communicating with the students and answering questions and so forth in regards to the work that was given and pre-recorded, so that they can listen to it over and over again. And it's pre-recorded, but a visual for the older kids, because that's how they can learn great. But older kids are struggling as well with no disabilities. So your child having direct instruction, if that's how it's going to be given to them, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, how long are they going to sit there and be able to focus? How long are they? Because you're sitting in a chair or a couch or a table or whatever, and it gets boring, So I am curious to hear from all of you, how it works out. I sure hope it does. And I hope that they maybe enjoy it in some way. Maybe the teachers are going to make it really creative. I know there's tons of really creative teachers out there. So if they make it really creative for the kids, then that could be something really amazing, and make the best of it, because aside from districts and the stuff they do that is sucky, the teachers, really can make or break this. And I think that a lot of teachers are just as lost as us, and they're probably trying to figure out this whole virtual thing as well. It's new to them, just like it is to us. There's obviously some teachers that are more virtually apt than others, but I think what's going to really make or break this is how creative are they going to be? And it's not where they can just do a lecture with a child with special needs. It just doesn't work like that. So I want to hear from all of you. I'm actually going to put out a questionnaire once school starts. And then I'm going to pick some people where you'll win some pretty cool things just for answering it. Because I want to hear from you guys. Like, how is it working? What isn't working? What is working? What is your child like? What is your child not like? What do you like? What do you not like? And go from there. So again, if you're jumping on, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie, even if you're catching the replay, okay? And if you haven't clicked notifications, make sure to do that. Share, and you will go into the hats and win some of the gifts at the end of the month if your name is picked. All right? So make sure that you share. And make sure that you join the group if you're interested. It's just put in the search bar, Autism Mama Rocks IEP group, and join the group. We'd love to have you. Hi, Jana. How are you? And Faye, you say, does reevaluations has to be done by teachers, or the data that the parents have been gathered, like videos, can be used to update present levels, since reevaluation by the teachers is not possible because of pandemic? Yes, parents are allowed to provide data and progress and so forth, and you absolutely can write their present levels. Or I would suggest have your child reevaluated, and OSEP put out a letter where the school districts actually, if they're virtual, have to allow you to go get an IE or IEs, so that your child can be evaluated with a psychoeducational, speech, OT, PT. I highly advise the CTOP 2 if they have reading difficulty, all of those things. Thank you for sharing, Kim and Michelle. You guys know that your name will go into the hat. Thank you, thank you. And people that share a lot will go in 2 or 3 times, I promise. So welcome, Jana. And Faye says, hello, hello. Hi, Michelle and Linda and Cynthia. So welcome, guys. So got some of my oldies on here. So yes, so I hope you guys enjoyed today. I know it can get, I get serious when I talk about progress and data. I'm a kind of data girl, and progress too, because I've learned some very keen lessons on them that I will never, ever forget. And I don't want others making those same mistakes. So if all of my screw ups in the 6.5 years it took me to learn things that I wish I had known, I will always share. And I will always share all of the new happenings of working with clients and the successes that happen, but the stress and the heartache that happens for me and them when I'm reviewing and seeing the things that have transpired. But they get fixed. But what stinks is that it had to happen in the first place. So, my goal is to make sure every single IEP I possibly can is as close to perfection as possible. So if you guys need an IEP makeover, if you need me to attend, I usually how it starts, I do an IEP makeover. I attend the IEP with my client, and we get that child what they freaking need. And that is the best feeling in the whole wide world. It really is, other than getting married and having our kids, and then our kids getting married and having their own kids and all those fun things. I love seeing parents have success and their IEPs get back in check and things working out. Because once your goals are in play, once your present levels are in play, and your services, accommodations, and modifications, which is why I created that course, and my big course, Rock the IEP, because I want you guys to learn this in depth. And I love doing IEP makeovers. I'm kind of addicted to them. I love seeing IEPs and new IEPs, and I guess it's kind of like a doctor, that does surgery, they really like to do surgery. That's their thing. Well, IEPs are my thing. And getting them to perfection is my goal, and I love it. So call me crazy, I love them. Once you guys learn, and that's what I teach you while I'm doing it, then eventually it clicks. So, it's one of those things where you just got to see it and you got to see it and you got to do it yourself. And then it just clicks, and it does, but sometimes it takes a little bit longer than you may want, but it will click. It will. And knowing that your child has solid goals and you're getting that data and progress reports, and your child is continuing to make progress in lieu of their disability is a win. I'm really tired. You're funny. You're welcome, Faye. You're welcome. So hopefully you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I will be going live tomorrow for a few minutes over on my group, and I will be doing a Q&A. So it'll probably be early. I'll be doing a Q&A. I have a IEP meeting with a director of special education just for an hour with a client. So it's not really an IEP meeting. It's a meeting with the director of special ed. And then I'm free. So I'll probably be going live early. And Skylar's birthday is Saturday. So I'll be going out tomorrow afternoon and getting balloons and all that stuff. So I'll probably go live again on my group to show everybody the balloons and cool stuff that I get. And Saturday morning when I go to Paul's Bakery, which is, oh my God, I'm going to go live there because you guys got to see their donuts. They're the best donuts ever. And I hate donuts, but they're so good. And I had them make her a cake, and I asked her, what kind of cake do you want? Because that's one thing that I've always done for her is I go big on the cake. I've even spent up to $100 on her cake because that's what she likes. She likes, I had the whole Nemo thing one year. I had the whole Happy Feet one year. And she's so simple in gifts that I go above and beyond with the cake because that's what she loves. Because like the things she loves are like little things, like little animals, or the tiny My Little Ponies and stuff like that are just so simple. Nothing like my two older ones when they were younger, who are 24 and 20 now. But they wanted the $300-$400 stuff. Sky never has asked for that. I mean, the stuff she wants are like $3 or $5. It's actually pretty great. I think the only expensive thing she has is an iPad. So it's kind of nice. So anyway, her cake is going to be a camping cake. She wanted it. We love going camping. So, and really, I don't camp. Okay. I'm going to tell you a secret. I glamp. Okay. When I go camping, I have to have my Keurig with me. Don't laugh. And I have to have a bed. Like if I'm going to sleep in a tent, which I don't, I want a blow up mattress. Don't laugh at me. I'm not high maintenance. I just clamp, like when people come and see my campsite, it is decked out. I got the lights and I got the RV and I got the rugs and I go above and beyond. Like my husband, he hates packing it up, but everything I pack, he always needs something. So yeah, I'm that person. Like I pack everything in the kitchen sink and everybody's happy. But if I don't pack everything in the kitchen sink, then nobody's happy because somebody missed something. But everybody wants to gripe about packing the car. You guys have that issue too? All right. So I'm going to go. I'd love to talk to you tomorrow. Make sure you join the group if you haven't. It's Autism Mama Rocks IEP group. Click notifications, guys, so you know when I go live. All right? I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.